You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live. Stand up, sit down, featuring in-depth discussion and interviews with stand-up comedians on the art of stand-up comedy. Black Hollywood Live. Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Stand Up, Sit Down.
How you guys doing? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Stand Ups, Sit Down. I'm your host, Nick Perdue, and I have a very funny, very talented man right here sitting across from me, Mr. London Brown. How you doing, sir?
What's good, man? What's good, man?
Good to have you.
Hey, man, I'm excited to be here, man. I appreciate this, coming out doing these interviews lately, man. So, hey, much love to y'all, man.
Yeah, man, thank you, because I know you are definitely on the grind right now. Your star is on the rise. You know, this man right here. Woo!
Man, it's one of those things. It's still not even done yet, man. I'm in, like you said, I'm in this grind space right now, and I'm just trying to get to the next level, man. So, absolutely, it's nonstop.
There you go. So let's just talk about the journey. Born and raised in Los Angeles, California, right? You know, I know exactly what that feels like. There's only about 7 of us left.
That's the truth, right?
So tell us, what was it like growing up in LA? And like what, exact part of LA did you grow up in?
I'm from South Central Los Angeles. I grew up right off of like 91st and Fig, man.
Oh, wow.
And so like anything from pretty much anywhere where they shot Men's Society, straight from the hood, Boys in the Hood, Colors, anything like that. That's exactly where I'm coming from, man. And so for me, I'm just, the hood is just, I stayed next door to some gang members, 5 houses down from another set of gang members.
Wow.
Went to school with them, passed up several hoods trying to get to school. And so, but I appreciate the hood, man. It teaches you a lot of different common sense, Don't walk down dark alleys at night. That kind of stuff has kept me alive today, man.
Yeah.
So, but hey, man, I love the hood, man. That's all I know, man.
Yeah, well, that's good. But now, like, was there ever a part where you felt that you could get swept up in this, and not pursue your dreams, that you would be, a product of your environment? Or?
Yeah, you know what? I think, man, it was because it was so crazy. But to be honest, my mother, super spiritual woman. I remember her praying. I was like maybe 10, and she was just like, God, keep him so busy that he won't even be involved in anything.
Yeah.
And ever since then, man, I've been busy, whether that means school activities, that was doing sports, my theater program in high school. All that stuff has really kept me, so I wouldn't even really have to be in the streets like that because I was just so busy all the time, man. But luckily for that, man, God has kept me safe, man, for real. In a real way, man.
That's good. See, God's always right on time, man.
Absolutely, man.
Go. There you go. So now, being funny, right? It's not anything that you can really be taught. It's kind of like a natural thing. So when did you figure out that you were, kind of funny?
I do remember like in the 3rd grade, we used to be joning back and forth. And I remember I had this journal and I was writing jokes about my friends in his journal, man. And but then, my timing, I think, has always kind of been there. I just remember that at the time I didn't know what it was, but my point of view, people would laugh at my response to a lot of different things. But I think it was like 11th grade, between like 9th in high school, basically. And I remember because, like, long story short, I remember I used to get new clothes for Easter, right?
Okay.
And I would get like one outfit to wear that Sunday. And I remember I was in the 8th grade and I had this one outfit. I was like, man, if I wear this one outfit Monday, I can't go back to my old clothes on Tuesday. So I started wearing my uncle's clothes. His clothes a little better than mine. And then from there, I remember I started really joning back and forth with my classmates, man, so that, they would just leave me alone because I was small. I was like 5'3", like in the 8th grade. I was a short dude, small dude. So from there, I think I was like, okay, I think I got something. But then I did this play in the 11th grade, and I just remember I got a lot of laughs during this play. And that was directed by Mark Swinton. Shout out to Mark Swinton. And yeah, from there I was just like, okay, I think this is something, but deciding to do stand up is different from wanting to do stand up. Like
That's true.
I always wanted to do it. I felt like I was going to do it,
Mm-hmm.
but my decision came, much later on.
Later on, yeah.
Yeah, but the instinct was always there, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man.
Well, especially on the playground, you got to be quick, because again, kids are cruel and harsh.
Yeah.
And so you got to be able to throw back punches, and not get clowns out there on the playground.
Absolutely, man. Like, especially because I went to school with a bunch of Crips at my high school, and I remember those guys, like, they was testing everybody, but they was cool with me because I would make them laugh.
Yeah.
And by my senior year, because I was in the 10th grade when they was like seniors or whatnot, I was hanging with. I don't know if my mother knows this, but I was hanging with gang members because they was cool, and we used to, they, tell another joke, cuz I'd be like, whatever that was I was doing. But yeah, man, being funny or having that timing has really helped me in more ways than the stage, man. That's the real deal, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And because, I know, like, in some of your stand up too, like, you really talk about, the hood, and you have these like, these gang member impersonations, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah, thanks, man.
But let me ask you this though. Like, do those jokes work in the white rooms as well as they do in the black room?
What I did learn is not to necessarily, when you first start out, you think that, jokes are like a lot of young comedians, not that I'm older, but we start off with, okay, I'm having my jokes for the black room, then I have my jokes for the white room and my Latino joke. But once I began to start talking about real stuff, then I realized that it didn't matter what room I was in. Now I do the same jokes in the white room, black room. I did a Latin room last night, and funny is funny if it's the truth.
Yeah.
And so once I start talking about my insecurities, and even growing up in the hood and stuff like that, and growing up with 3 different last names in my house, and how I always wanted to be a Huxtable because they had one last name. With that stuff, to where I'm talking about my legs and my material and dating women, and people just relate because the core of it is very honest. So I think that's crossed over whatever color lines because it's just honest.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's go back a little bit, and let's talk about the first time you were on stage. What was that like? Where were you at? How long did you do?
Okay, there's a couple breakdowns to this. So I remember in church, I would make people laugh. I would do these, impersonations. This is before I knew they were impersonations. I was just talking about people in the church. I was like 14, and I remember I was doing my jokes, and then the host, he came up there basically like the Sandman, and I was doing well, but they wanted to get some other acts up there, and so basically, I remember the host said, came up there and just was like, put the lights on me, and then I had to leave. And I remember I was like 14. I went up in the church like office, and I was, crying and everything. And then after that, I remember after high school, I was working for Los Angeles Times doing telemarketing, and I would make people around the job laugh. And they had a talent show. They was like, all right, well, why don't you do a little something for the talent show? So I did some jokes there, which later on that night, the guy said, hey, man, come do this little club called, it's called the Step Up Restaurant, which used to be where the 405 in Manchester meet. Right now, it's Roscoe's there, but at the time, it was a Step Up Restaurant. I did squeaky clean material. Didn't really know what I was doing. So I was just on stage. But then, like I said, more so to what you're asking, I was a teacher, and I was teaching high school and in middle school at the time, and they had a fundraiser, and it was a comedy show. I was like, well, how do you know? I asked the staff, like, how do you get on there? She said, oh, baby, don't worry about it. She signed me up on the thing. And next, I got a call. We're going to let you do some time. And then that first time I did like 17 minutes. 13 minutes. Of which, I know it sounds crazy, 13 of it, which was funny. That other, I was like just trying to figure it out. But from there, I started, doing open mics. My first club was like the Comedy Union. I only had 3 at the open mic. They let you do 3 minutes. You got to bring people, and it started from there. That got the thing going, man. So, and I still do open mics, man. Nothing, never too big for open mics, but
Yeah.
So it started from that, and just the next club, and then the next club, somebody see you there and say, "Hey, come do my room," and it took off from there, man.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, man.
And like open mics too, like it's really like a good workout.
Yeah.
And I think that's really like where you can go to really kind of find the rhythm,
Right.
with your jokes, and especially if you go to a couple different rooms where the comedians actually pay attention,
Right.
They can help you with tags and stuff like
Absolutely.
that, and really help you put together a nice set.
Right. That's pretty much how I went. I was just, like I said, doing the open mics, and someone will vouch and say, "Hey, man, come do this room," and then it kind of worked that way, and they introduce you to other open mics.
Yeah.
And so, I stay in the open mics. Was at open mic Monday, and your peers are there, and they, like you said, we tagging up jokes and saying, "Hey, man, try this angle. That's old. Try this."
Yeah.
And that's why I still have a great appreciation for the open mic, because you just discover a lot, and you can just see. A lot of people just think jokes just come together. Like jokes have to be gotten together with a strategic plan, and there's a format to make jokes work, man. And so, it's not just just pulling from the
Just come
sky.
out of there. Well, let's talk about how do you write your jokes? Like, because you gather up this material, right? And it's like, or do you still like sit down and like physically write them all out, or do you do bullet points? Like, what's your style?
Usually, initially I didn't know how to even structure a joke. So when ideas would come to me, I found out, coming from a theater background, that whatever was funny, I just found out from just being in the moment. So I was just discovering material as I was on stage, and I would just, pretty much record it, listen to it, and I wasn't writing anything because I didn't know what to write. Then I got with a cat named David Arnold. Shout out to David Arnold, man. Really like a beast with
he's
that
good.
structure.
He's good.
And so I remember I got it with him, and he just really helped me to focus my ideas and how to articulate them in a way that's effective. And so after working with him, now instead of thing where, like, if I see something, I'll make a note in my phone, whether it is it may be something like being forgetful and getting old, and I just put that down as a bullet point. And then I start thinking about real life stories, not just because at first I used to just write, what would be funny, which is not the approach that works best for me. It's but rather what has happened and what's the truth. And then once I start thinking about the truth of these ideas, then I start to embellish on those ideas, and just sometimes the funny is already there. We just got to just tell the story, and then the audience will tell you, what's funny, and
what's
long
not.
as long as we set them up and we say this is what I'm talking about, the audience will follow. And so man, I start with, like I said, a bullet point, and then going to what really happened, and then from that, the jokes usually just find themselves.
Now, because I know like there's some comedians who who enjoy talking, because I like to talk, and so I know like there are times to where if I'm talking to one of my friends, and I'm telling them a joke, they're like, "Dude, you need to cut that down."
Right.
Because like sometimes you say all these unnecessary words that don't really add any value to the joke,
right?
And you could get to the punchline quicker,
right?
So like, do you find yourself like on stage like, okay, I probably should.
Absolutely. Like especially when I'm first working out a joke, it'd be super wordy. It'd be really, really wordy. And so then, of course, as I just keep doing it, that's why it's so important to work these open mics and these clubs every night, because as you keep doing it, you start cutting, as we call, trimming the fat, and we get to that setup and just get to the jokes. The idea is to stack the laughs together. And so I still got jokes. There's a couple jokes I'm working on now where I'm just trying to just bring the laughs closer together and trim off whatever is not really moving the story along. So yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
So, but it's just part of the process, just like putting it through the filter, and then as you keep shifting through, then the goal to will fall through, or will hold, man, and let everything else go to the side.
Right. Now, how often do you write? Because especially out here in LA, I know you've been on the circuit, and so you've seen a couple comedians do their thing a couple times, but it's the same 7, 10, or 15 minutes,
Right.
and like that's their set that they take with them everywhere.
Right.
And I don't necessarily believe in that. Like, that's cool if you have like a nice 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Great, but you're gonna need something else. So how
Right.
often do you write fresh stuff, and how often do you kind of mix stuff in with the old?
So I'm writing. There's always thoughts every day that I'll jot down and that sort of thing. And so my process is that I know it's really hip on the comedy scene for young comics to have new material all the time, because a lot of times we'll be in the same clubs with these veterans they have a machine, and so when we see them, they're always with new material, right?
Yeah.
And so, but the problem I think with younger comics is that they trying to write new material, but a lot of their old stuff ain't even fully developed.
Yeah.
They just barely
Yeah.
got 2 laughs out of it, and then they put it to the side. But it don't. It's for one, it may be a joke they can only do in a white room or only a black room. They haven't hit all the point of views on it.
Yeah.
So what I've done with my process, what I've come to learn is just that as I'm writing new stuff, I'm still cleaning up the old stuff. So even a joke that people think is the same joke from a year or two ago really ain't the same joke. I mean, I got the stuff all on tape. Everything is recorded. I record all my sets.
Yeah.
So it'd be 1 or 2 tags. So by the time, someone, let's just say they saw me in the club last year, I do that same joke this year, it got way more laughs than it did the first time I did it, because I done punched it up, I done retweaked it, and we grow as people.
Yeah.
So our point of views on these topics will change. But so even as sometimes, like I said, I'm always tweaking old jokes, but I'm always writing some new stuff. I kind of like to work in like a new 5 minutes, and so sometimes depending on how much time I got, because also too being new to this comedy thing, ideally, or under 5 years, you're always in the showcase position. Like clubs ain't trying to have you work out no new jokes at the Improv and at the Comedy Store. They want that fire.
Yeah.
So I have to usually, if I'm hosting, at the Ha or something, then I can work out. That's usually when I work out materials when I'm hosting, because I got time to stretch. And so, but if I don't, then I try to squeeze a new joke in the middle of my set, see how it work. If it don't, I'm gonna come right back with something that's gonna work, so I don't lose.
With the Old Faithful.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So, the work is always being done, even with old material. It's always being done, man.
Okay. So now let's talk about clean jokes versus dirty jokes, because there's comics like Brian Regan, for example,
Right.
who he's just clean all the way,
Right.
And then you have other comedians like, say, like a Daniel Tosh, who
Right.
was talking about rape and the whole crazy
Yeah.
nonsense, right?
Right.
So kind of I know that there's room for clean material, but then there's also room for dirty material.
Right.
And I feel that right now audiences aren't as clever as they should be.
Okay.
So when you try and create like a clever joke with some subtle nuances, like they don't get it. But if you just say the motherfuckers and then hit them with the real dirty stuff, you get laughs all the time.
I just think it depends on how it's delivered too, man. Because I know some guys, like one of my favorite comedians, rest in peace, is Patrice O'Neal.
Yes.
And he was really about to take off, right before he passed away. But he's one of those guys that could get away with saying something, what they call unclean, but it was so honest that people were just like, they gotta mess with him. I think it's where it comes from. I think sometimes too, young comedians, will use profanity as a punchline.
Yeah.
So then the audience they're not with that. And so for me, I'm able to, I can work clean. And, do I work clean? Ideally, it may seem clean, but I will say some stuff, depending on what the show is. But for the most part, I don't be out cursing in my regular life. So I don't try to, all of a sudden go on stage and
just blow it up.
because when I first started, profanity was out of control. It was out of control, because I didn't, not that I've had my voice fully yet. I'm still trying to find it and work on it, but the cursing was out of control. Every other word was a nigga this and a nigga that, and it was just not until I recorded my set, went back and listened to it, and then I seen how many times I said nigga in my set.
Yeah.
I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I think, if a comedy don't really have something particular, something really specific to say, then out of nervous habit, you curse to say nigga this, and it's just
It's like filler kind of.
right. It's just filler. But once you go back and you start looking at them tapes, I said I don't ever want people to feel that way. I was like, so was ridiculous.
Yeah,
it was just ridiculous.
Sometimes you just say it just to say it, and it has no reason of even being in there.
And I'm like, I'm cool, man. I can't be, So now, not that I try to work clean, it's just I'm just really getting comfortable with being me. And like I said, I don't be cursing off stage like that. So on stage, I know I have I know as far as like what my point of view is, I'm still finding it, but with how I'm touching onto it now, I know what I want to say when I get up there. I'm like, okay, I'm working out these jokes, so I got a plan, as opposed to, sometimes you be fishing around, you get nervous, and then you just say out anything. I'm like, nah, man, I got a plan, man. So
now let's talk about your best show that you've ever had thus far. What was it? Where were you?
Wow.
Where everything, you're firing on all cylinders, and it's like, even because you've had those shows to where you're just like in the zone, and then like even like little stuff that you say that to you may not seem funny, kills for no reason.
Yeah. Oh man. It might be a couple, but I give you one. One was last year. Last year I had a chance to do the Apollo Theater.
Okay.
Out in Harlem.
Yeah.
And this wasn't like the Apollo show. This was like a real audience. And I was there because I was touring with Chris Tucker as his opener. And so I went up Thursday night. I went out there and I was a little nervous or whatever on the inside. And I did my set in between like a 1 through 10. It was like a cool 7. 7.5. It was, did I bomb? No, I didn't bomb. It was just like, it was like, all right. It was like, oh, it was good. That was it.
Yeah.
And then, but I have my own standards of where I want the material to be. So I remember going back to the hotel room that night. I was just like, okay, I went back, I made some adjustments. I said, you know what? I'm about to go out there with the F this attitude. I'm here. Here we go. And then I went out Friday night. And then just from the jump, I didn't care. And I just went out there just really like, I'm about to hit him.
Yeah.
And then by the end of that set, it was a standing O. Wow. And so for me, I just like that I was able to take the problem and not be like stuck on it, because I could have bombed the next night. But I was like, okay, this is the problem. Let me make some adjustments, get my confidence. This is what's going on. And then they had to respect it, the next day, man. But that was, for me, that was like one of my own stripes, or even like this last Saturday, I hosted at the Ha Ha. I did a set at the Ha Ha, and they gave me like, I think like 22 minutes or something. And then the fact that I went up there and I didn't go up there with a plan. I said, I'm just going to just speak
and just
create it.
Yeah.
And the fact that I'm able to feel comfortable enough at a real show, from the real audience, and just say, okay, I'm doing this for me. I was proud of that moment, because it just showed, for me, it was a sign of growth that I was comfortable with myself to sit in the silence or to just say, hey, I got to go to the bathroom. But public bathrooms, I went into that and found something and spoke about how I keep my charger with me and different things and whatnot. And I just found some cool stuff in that 22 minutes of just being right in the moment. Yeah. So shows like that just really mean something to me, because it's just a sign of growth.
Yeah.
And so I'm always excited if it's just one joke. I'm like, oh man, I'm growing. I just want to keep moving, man.
That's good.
And everything. I get too passionate about this, man. That's real deal, man.
But now, okay, we got to take the good with the bad. So
absolutely.
Let's talk about your worst show. Was it no laughs? Did you get heckled? Did you walk off stage? Did you cry on stage? Like, what was going on?
Worst show. I remember one night. I don't know. This might be a bad show. I remember I was doing the J Spot, and I consider this my bad show because I wasn't in the moment. I was still trying to do my set, and I remember I was at the J Spot. I was like one of the last ones to go up. Granted, people were tired and everything, but I knew my set was going bad, because like after the first joke didn't go, I went right to my closer. I went to my closer.
For the audible.
And I was just like, and I do this Denzel bit, which rips. And so I did this bit, and I was like, boom, my man. And it was just quiet. And I was just like, oh, my God. It started getting hot. And I just remember like, whoo. And then my boys was in the back, and everybody like, oh. Everybody rubbing their head and everything. And I just like, this is not, that's what I get. I just wasn't in the moment. I'm trying to just go through a script. And I wasn't even in the room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that show was like, that didn't go over well. You know, so some people, sometimes people just think you just have these great shows all the time, but man, I've taken some L's before.
But that's a part of the growth.
That
though,
is a part of
because if you feel that especially if you kill every single show, you're not really growing.
Right.
Because when you get that one show to where you get no laughs at all, maybe you even get a heckler or whatever, and then you're not equipped to handle that. You don't even know how to recover from a bad joke.
Right.
Because I think that there's some art in that, because I know we've all had terrible jokes or jokes that, you think work and they don't work, but you can still save it if your recovery from that joke, is still okay.
It's really just, man, my boy, shout out to Skills Hudson, man. He told me this thing that sticks with me, which is if you always getting up, then you don't have time to reflect on the bad set the night before.
Yeah.
You bomb yesterday. You're already working on the next open mic or the next. So your mind, you ain't even got time to even think about that. Because sometimes I used to be like, oh my God, set last night was. But now I just try to get up so much, man, that if I have a bad set, I'm cool. I'm working on a rebound.
Yeah.
Even if not that same night, the next day, just trying to get past that, man. And like I said, go back, listen, say, okay. Jerry Seinfeld said it best, which is like, a good audience will help you, discover things or find things, but a bad audience will make you, edit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or not like a bad audience, but your bad set, when you got that audience that's just like, they're not with you, it makes you go back and be like, okay, I got to make some adjustments because clearly these jokes didn't work. But that good audience, you be in the moment, like you said, stuff you didn't even know was funny. You just say something that be like, oh man, I'm keeping that joke.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
Yeah. Now let's talk about internet comedians versus like legitimate stand-up comedians, and I say that a little loosely because you have these Twitter comedians, you have like these Instagram comedians that just make little memes or whatever, and call themselves funny.
Right.
So how do you feel about just the internet comedians versus actual stand-up comedians?
I think, man, with the internet, a lot of times, it's just like the same guy who thinks he's funny at the family barbecue. Like sometimes with the family, these people, they know you, they know your personality, they know your point of view, so they'll laugh at you. But it's totally different, even online. Like you can say some stuff online, but you don't get any immediate feedback. Or let's just say if I say something what I think is funny, I log off. I go play basketball and that's it. I ain't got to deal with what people think on a face-to-face level. Stand up, when you're in front of an audience, like being a comedian is like the only job where people, they want you to prove to them right then and there. They don't, like, you get treated as a professional as soon as they introduce you. You know what I mean? And everybody think they can do it. Yeah. That's the other part of it. Just like, MCing, everybody can do it. And so when you get up there, you gonna know by the time that last word comes out of your mouth for that joke, if it's funny or not. They very honest, they look at you. It's a different type of pressure. This ain't, you got your computer, you can tweet, you got let's say you may have your girlfriend with you, your homeboy, your family. So everybody's right, you got the support. On stage, it's just you and the mic. And you got a room full of people who don't know you, who don't care to know you, they ain't never seen you. They ain't, man, it's different. It's a lot. Anybody who think, people that's funny on Twitter and YouTube, that's cool. Get on that stage. That stage is the truth. It ain't the stage is not to be, comedy is no joke, man.
It's true.
It's no joke, man.
It's true. But, online, because there are so many outlets now, especially with the YouTube, it really has created, like a new form, and so, we've seen sketches and stuff like that, and people really kind of step out of their shell And because now like it's just them and a camera, or them and a couple people and a camera, so they're able to really kind of do a couple things. In fact, you have done a couple things that we have this like clip with it was you, let's call you Justin Hires, right? And Reggie was
Reggie. I think Reggie Jr., Teddy Ray, Lance on there. Justin Hires directed this joint. And so shout out to Justin Hires, man. He's just one of those guys who definitely try to utilize, YouTube and really keep some things for the people. And we came together. He said, "Hey, man, I got this sketch idea. And let's come together and let's do it." So I said, "Man, let's do this, man." It's pretty much, I think this is the clip we shot, which was like the BET Cypher. So right after the awards, we dropped it, man. It was fire, though.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, I'm speaking cold. I'm 55 years old, and yet I'm still cold. Yeah, I am a father. Shout out to Justin Hires. Somebody hold my baby, my arms just getting tired. Yeah, talking LeBron, I mean ballin'. No, not spalding, I mean that dude's ballin'. Here when I say ballin', yeah, I brought the Nets. I moved the team to Brooklyn so y'all can start placing bets. Yeah, gonna recognize right here, it's The Rock. Okay, one more thing, Kim.
Yeah, man. So shout out to Justin Hires, who called and said, "Hey, man, I want you to do this Jay-Z spoof with me, man."
Yeah.
And Reggie Jr. did Waka Flocka, Teddy Ray did Rick Ross, Justin did Kendrick Lamar, Lance, I think, did DMX, Jason did Big Sean and that. So yeah, man, those another group of guys, man, that's on the same page where we just trying to be focused.
Yeah.
Let's collab, we can do that. Let's make it funny, man, and just keep some kind of buzz on us, because now we try to utilize these resources to keep people just following us, whatever we got to do, because the clubs is cool, but it takes a lot more work, than the club to get people, to recognize you, man. So yeah, that was fun, man. That was a little Jay-Z spoof, man.
Yeah, no, because you do a good Jay-Z impression. You want to give us a little taste of Hove?
So, basically, we had to work together for that and make sure everybody was a part of it so we could tell our different stories. And, it should be pretty cool. Verb. I can't wait for his new album to drop. I'm excited. When I tell you, man, when he dropped that album, I'm trying to cop that album, man.
Yeah.
I just know.
Yeah.
For me, I just don't see anybody with... He's just so smart in how he make his moves, man. Like, everything is strategic. He ain't just doing anything. That's how you can be 40, whatever he is, and still be not washed up. Because he's really, he don't know, man. I'm reading his blueprint, man. He don't even know. I'm peeping his blueprint. I'm getting that album, man.
Now let me ask you: Did this Jay-Z impression that you do, because we saw the BET Cypher spoof that you guys did, and then because I know that you and Justin also did a suit and tie parody,
right?
With that's the Justin Timberlake and
right.
Jay-Z as well. So did that character help with this new show that you have on Fuse, The Hustle, where you do play a rapper from Brooklyn? Right?
Yeah, man. There was different times, man, when we were recording that stuff in the studio. I never set out to be like, okay, I'm going to try to study Jay-Z's voice or any impersonations that I do. They really just come natural. And but when I was working on the show, The Hustle, which premiered already, so y'all catch that on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. out here in LA. But I was able, for a second, when I do the voice Hove on stage, man, for a few seconds I get to feel like a rapper, just for a little bit.
Yeah.
And so when it came to that, I remember I did listen to a lot of Jay-Z, because I played as Brooklyn artist, or I'm one half of what's called this group called Brooklyn's Finest. Shout out to Alon Noel, who plays the other half of Brooklyn's Finest. And so I was listening to a lot of Jay-Z, just listen to his accent, different things, man, and the whole Brooklyn culture. We did a lot of studying with that, Talib and Mos and a lot of cats. But yeah, man, it helped, man, because his presence is, man, I'm just even how he commands the stage, being up there by himself, it really helped. I try to incorporate some of that, man, in just the presence, at least when it comes to working with the project.
Yeah. So, what are your comedy goals
My comedy goals,
in
man.
the future?
At some point, I know I want to definitely touch on some comedy specials.
Okay.
And use this comedy thing as far as to open up other avenues, whether TV shows, whether that means sitcoms, commercials, movies, but also too, man, I want to go back and really be able to inspire young people, man. I feel like because I grew up in the hood, and if they can understand, like, man, if you believe something, it can happen, but you gotta just put the work behind it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I think young people think that you gotta wait till you like a full-on adult with kids and bills to start living, dreams, man. But I want to go back to these schools, and be like, hey, I grew up in the same streets with y'all. I went to the local. I didn't go up like in any kind of special environment, but hey, man, with God and your work ethic, man, you can get to the top, man. Whatever that is. I know I'm not even at the top yet, but I believe it's coming. So.
Yeah, you are definitely on your way.
Dude, man, I'm focused, man. People don't believe you're doing it until you're doing it, man. That's why I don't believe in, I be hearing this thing lately, man, because, since the show dropped, a couple of friends will be like, oh, man, you got lucky. And I don't believe in luck, man. That ain't nowhere near me. I feel like, hard work, as Mayweather said, hard work, dedication. Yeah. And God working how he worked, because you can't tell me it's luck. Yeah. Not do I be in the open mics. Yeah. And not do I be writing these jokes late at night and getting up studying tapes and staying with my friends on my friends' couches and they looking out for me, and some of them help covering my car notes so I can get. Ain't no luck, man.
It's the activity. It's the activity.
Man, forget luck, man. I'm all about that work, man. Focus.
There you go. So any upcoming projects coming up that you want to?
Yeah, man. Again, just want people to, of course, I'll be at the Comedy Union. People can use a lot of times just catch me there, or hosting at the High, the local clubs, what have you. But also the Hustle, which is out on Fuse right now, comes out every Wednesday. But they show the repeats to keep people in tune what's going on. So I think East Coast 11 o'clock, West Coast 8. So yeah, people can just stay tuned, keep watching the Hustle. It's been doing really well, got great reviews. In the LA Times, New York Post, and shout out to the creator of that, Prentice Penny.
Okay, yeah, I know Prentice. Yeah,
Prentice, good dude, man. That's my man right there, man. Erica Dickinson was in there, Clinton Lowe, Devetta. It's just a lot of Brooklyn, Dewan, a lot of these people, man. It's a really good cast. It's a fun show. People messing with it heavy. So yeah, people can just watch out for that, man.
Okay. And then where can your fans find you online?
Online, they can find me on Twitter at Real London Brown. Real London Brown is 2 L's. Same thing with Instagram, Real London Brown. My site is IamLondonBrown.com. Facebook, I have a fan page, The Real London Brown. So yeah, man, I'm telling you, if they don't be. See, my thing is like support and start getting on. Like, be a part of the movement now. Yeah. Don't wait till it pop off.
You get famous.
Like, so come out to the shows now. Follow me now. You know what I mean? And don't follow because you want me to follow you back. That's different. Keep it 100, man. Follow me because you believe in what I'm doing. If you don't believe in what I'm doing, that's cool. I ain't tripping. Everybody's sleeping right now.
There you go. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for coming in.
Respect,
it was
a
pleasure.
You already know, man. Much respect, man.
Yes, sir. And thank you guys for tuning in. And again, you can catch me all over the internet at the Nick Purdue. See you soon.
Thank you.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, Dario Kristen, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network. If you have questions or comments, tweet us at BHL Online or email us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. For more exclusive content, visit blackhollywoodlive.com. This has been a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network. The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.